For this week, we only have one assignment. I need you to open the pipe isometric file and read it carefully. Once you get to this drawing, I want you to look at the front view, top view, and right side view. Notice that the top view typically has a north arrow. The north arrow in this case is pointing to the right, and so you need to pay attention to that. We have some sort of vessel here, and that vessel is also present in the front view, which is an elevation view. So architectural drawings and civil drawings will call the top views are going to be plans. The east elevation, in this case north elevation, are the front view here and the right side view here. Notice that there's some sort of a tank or a vessel here. We see it as a circular shape with a octagon. That's the base for this vessel. That base is present in the right side view here, but we do not see it in the front view. Notice there that that vessel is labeled here as V101, which is the same one as this. So let's look closely to the top view. Notice that we have some northing and westing lines here, and just the regular labels. This is a very simple plan view. The flow is going this direction, depicted by the arrow, and then we have an N1 here. In the front view, like I said before, it does not display it. That is this pipe right here. Notice that this is a yin-yang symbol, and as you know from before, the yin-yang just represents a section view, so that means that they decided not to draw it, but it is present there. In the right side view, it is present, and N1 is also labeled here. The direction of flow is still the same, and it goes from the vessel to this other E101, which is like a heat exchanger or something of that nature. So in the isometric, to orient yourself, you will look at the northing easting arrows here and then up and down. So if the pipe has some elevation, of course it will go up. From this is the nozzle to V101, which is right here. Okay, so the actual tank was not drawn, only the pipeline. It goes back here, which means that's this line right here all the way to this elbow. This elbow right there is this elbow, then it goes this direction, depicted by the arrow, and then it goes back again into, well, it goes back and then up into E101. So as you can see it here, it goes, because there's a circular shape here, it goes back in depth from the front view, and then we have a width line, and then depth again, and then height into that heat exchanger, E101. And again, you can see the same line here with this information there. So you need to study that carefully to be able to decipher this. Notice that all the notes that were placed in the multi-views are placed on the isometric. The only thing that were not drawn are the actual vessels. Here, I know that you can't read all of this, but this is just a fair sample of isometrics. And it gives you some information as to how to draw isometrics for single line pipe drawings. Here's the first sheet of the assignment. You have two drawings here. So for number 1, which is this one, you would draw it here. And again, you're going to draw it isometrically, and then you're going to draw this isometrically here. So to start off with this one, notice that we have two views, this one and that one. This has the north arrow pointing up, and so this right here would be the top view. And if you look at AA, that's the same as a cutting plane line, okay, except that it's not cutting through anything as of now. And so that's just letting us know that this is a viewing line. And so in here you see that actual view. Reality, those two lines uh, are added just to make sure that we understand that that is the top view for this, but they're not necessary because they are projecting or they are aligned vertically with each other. So in here you will see a rectangular shape. This rectangular shape is labeled P6. P means pump. That's how pumps are drawn on isometrics or also single line pipe drawings. And in here the rectangle is not drawn, P6. Now remember, a lot of the times we do not draw equipment on single line pipe drawings, therefore the rectangle is not there. So we do not actually draw the actual figure for the pump. On this other end, we have a vessel, whether it's a tank or a vessel, it's not labeled, but it gives us a vessel that is upright. Notice that we have it here again. And this is a partial view because we have the break line here and there. So what I have done to facilitate this assignment, I have created like a 3D image of this so that you can see it better. Hopefully that will give you a pretty good idea of what's going on. So I drew a rectangle just to represent the pump. So whenever you draw it, you need to draw it isometrically. You should already know how to draw isometrics. So I'm trusting that you will know what to do. And now you need to draw a single line pipe drawing. Any line that has elevation needs to go up. And then I guess width lines, we're going to call this width lines, the ones that go to the east. Okay, so that would be an easting line here. And then to the north, it would go the opposite way. So in here we have a pump, as you can see there from the top, from the front view. Let me zoom in a little bit. Okay, so P6 is here, so that would be the pump, that would be this. From there we have a little nozzle, and I just drew this like a little nozzle there. From there you have a reducer, so let me show you the reducer here. Okay, and there's that reducer right there. From there we have a valve attached to that reducer. Okay, from there we have just a single pipe, which is right here. That's this little piece right there. Whenever we see a circle, just remember that this means that the pipe goes back. So that would be, my orientation is different than this, so that would mean depth. In other words, that's going towards the north arrow. So that piece of pipe would, well, we have an elbow first, okay, and then the pipe that is added there. Okay, so that is this line here. From there, at the same elevation, we're going to have this line just come across. So you will see the elbow and the line itself like that. Okay, that would be here. FW and the X, that just means it's a field weld, which means that at this juncture, that's how they would stop fabricating this in the facility, and they transport it to its actual location and then field weld that in place. Okay, from there we see a circle. We do not see just a regular kind of like this. We do not see the arc here. So that means that this piece of pipe, this being the top view, comes up, and after it goes up, it goes back. So let's look to confirm on the front view. Notice that we do see the arc, and this way, this is elevation, so it goes up. So from there, you will see that piece of pipe going up now, and then from there, it goes back towards the north again. Going to make those visible here and there so that you can see that piece of pipe right there. This is a nozzle projection. It gives us 3 foot 4 inches center to front. So from the center of the vessel to the front of that nozzle is supposed to be 3 foot 4 inches. And then see there how this is meant to represent all of that. I didn't draw it to scale, like I didn't, it gives you dimensions here and there. I really didn't draw it to scale. I just drew it so that you could see how that goes. So again, from the pump, it goes up. There's a reducer right there, and then there's a valve here. That's the symbol. From there, it goes over. From here, it goes back in depth. So that's the back. And then it comes across. It comes across there, up this line here, or this piece of pipe represents this line here. I know it's not to scale and it's not proportional, but I wanted to do something kind of quick. And then from here we see a circular shape, so that means that it goes back into that tank there. Okay, so when you draw your isometric, it will resemble this angle like that, but it's single line. So it's single line pipe drawing. For the second assignment here, notice that it's a single view. Whenever you decide your starting point, just make sure you leave yourself enough room to be able to give me all the information for the pipeline itself. But notice here you have a nozzle and then a nozzle here. We are not given what it is attached to, but I'm assuming that there's a vessel here and a vessel here, and this is just a single piece of pipe that has the same elevation throughout. FW again means field weld, and you have the north arrow pointing there. So in this case, if the north arrow is pointing this way, then you would have a line that goes sort of like that. Make sure that you follow your lines and that you draw it. Give me all the annotations here. For the second sheet, I also wanted to give you some orientation here. Notice that the north arrow is pointing this way. So it means that the north arrow is going this way here. In here again, we started at the bottom with a pump. We have two views. Because this view has the north arrow, then that means that this is the top view. And they're not lined up, but you see the AA line here. That's just like a viewing line. It's similar to a cutting plane line, but it is not cutting through anything. And in here it tells you that it is section AA. So if you were to kind of look at it, it's like if you're looking at the top view and then the right side view here. Okay, so the length from here to there is the same length as from here to there. This pump has a discharge at this elevation here, and from there you will see that you have a reducer. So there's your reducer, and then you have that valve. That valve is right here. From there it turns 45 degrees. When you draw this isometrically, notice that you will see that 45 degrees as a straight horizontal line. From here, you see a 45-degree elbow, that's this one here, that goes into this pipe. This pipe here is has a stub in right there. So when you draw it in isometrically, it will kind of look like this. But I want to show you from different angles what that drawing is depicting there. So whenever you draw it isometrically, this is the angle that you would see, and that's the figure that you need to draw on this side of the drawing, except that it will be single lined. And I also made the last assembly here. Single view, you would draw it like this and like this. Make sure that you draw the tank, or you could go this way with the pump being here and the tank being here. I would definitely suggest you study the video and study the 3D models that I have included here so that you have a better understanding of the single line pipe drawings.